Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our class. This lesson has been prepared by Mr. Turki Al-Fifi and I am Abdullah Shahrani. I will be your teacher for this class. Today we will talk about a grammar rule about past perfect and past perfect progressive. Feel free to share and participate, and if you need any help, just send an email to us. Durus is a great opportunity to you all to practice your English. Just tell your friends and your family members about it. We have brilliant teachers of English and they will be more than happy to help you. So today we will start now talking about the difference between the past perfect and the past perfect progressive. When should we use it, and with examples. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful, we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we ask Him to guide us to right path. The first thing, what are the goals for this class? As it's mentioned here, number one, the students be able to distinguish between past perfect with the past perfect progressive. This is the main thing. This is the first important point in this class. We will distinguish, we will differentiate between using a past perfect and past perfect progressive. Number two, the students be able to overcome misunderstanding regarding the use of these tenses. So we will try to make it clear and to solve any obstacles you may encounter. Number three, the pupils be able to use the appropriate time expressions with their ideas. So here are the main goals for this class. Let's start with the first slide, the introduction. So here is the past perfect, had, plus the verb 3, done, which is irregular, watched, and ed here. Because the past perfect and the past form for each regular verbs, we just add ed. So we can call this one verb 3. We call it a verb 3. Now let's draw a line to show you these are the verbs 3. Done, watched, and drank. So past perfect. So this is the form now. Had plus verb 3. But what is a past perfect? This is a very important question you have to take care of. So past perfect is one event happens before another event in the past. So in past perfect we have two events, but one of them happened before another event in the past. So this is the form of the past perfect. So the past perfect is one event happens before another event in the past. So two actions in the past, but the past perfect happens first. For example, let's say, I'm gonna write it here, I had lived in Abha before I came to Riyadh. So here, this is past perfect here, and let me change the color first, and here with the pen. So here had left, and here another verb, came. I had lived in Abha before I came to Riyadh. So here we have two actions in the past. Two actions, had lived. This is the form of the past perfect. In Abha before I came to Riyadh. And the base form for came is come. Come, came, come. So two actions. Number one, let me say this is number one, and came here is number two. So two actions happen in the past, but one event happens before. So had lived in Abha, it happens super past before I came to Riyadh. This is the form of past perfect. Had plus verb 3. So to make a past perfect, you always need had plus the verb 3. Done, watched, rang, spoken, gone, had done, had watched, had spoken, had rang. This is how to make or how to form a past perfect. So you always need had plus verb 3. So another one here is past perfect progressive. Past perfect progressive. The form is had, been, and doing, adding ing at the end of the verb. So past perfect continuous, which is almost the same idea, but it shows the first event continuous. I mean last goes on for a while. So let's try now to give you another example. Let me do the same thing. I had been living in Abha before I came to Riyadh. So it's almost the same thing. Had been living and came. It's almost the same. So past perfect continuous, which is almost the same idea, but it shows what? The first event continuous, lasts, goes on for a while. So I had been living in Abha before I came to Riyadh. So the form, this is the form, had plus been plus the verb plus ing. So for example, we have both tenses now, but some people don't use the past perfect and the past perfect progressive. It's okay, but some of the people use just the past simple for everything. Instead of saying I had lived in Abha before I came to Riyadh, he said I lived in Abha before I came to Riyadh. But we show you the differences between the past perfect and the past perfect progressive with examples, and here we have the form and the uses. So let me restart again. The past perfect is one event happens before another event in the past. So two actions in the past, but the past perfect happens first. The past perfect progressive, which is almost the same idea, but it shows that the past perfect or the first event continues or lasts or goes on for a while. So I had been living in Abha before I came to Riyadh. This is past perfect progressive, and this is I had lived in Abha before I came to Riyadh. It's a past perfect. Let's move now to another slide, and here we have examples, more examples. I had worked. This is a past simple. He had and here we have to reverse to make had at the first place. Had you worked? Had she slept? This is the verb 3. So let's underline the verbs here. These are the verb 3. And here with the negative form, they hadn't worked, it hadn't slept. Here we have the past perfect progressive. I had been working. So had been working. I think it's self-explanatory here in the slide. He had been sleeping. Had you been working? This is a question. Had she been sleeping? And they hadn't. This is the negative form. So we add not after had. They hadn't. Let's move now, and here we have the past perfect progressive. I had lived in Saudi Arabia before I came to United States. If you look at the timeline now, this is past and this present and this future. So two actions. First one, had lived, which is the super past or past perfect examples, and another action is came. It's the past simple. This is the last action, the last action. So as we said, two events or actions, but the past perfect progressive happens first. I had lived in Saudi Arabia before I came to United States. Here is the past perfect progressive, which is always or which is almost the same idea, but it shows that the first one is or the first event continues, or like for example goes on. So I had been living in the United States since 2010 before I came to Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So this is the past perfect progressive, and since 2000 it's a time expressions used here to indicate that we use the past perfect progressive. So here from 2010 until he came to the Saudi Arabia, so the living is continuous. The living is continuous. Let me draw these lines to show you that he is still in this period. And here we used also time expressions used like the word since. So the uses now of the past perfect to describe an action which was completed before a specific point of a time in the past. And we had an example now. My mom had done. My mom had done. Here is the past perfect. The washing up by midnight. The washing up by midnight. More examples. I think we will tell you inshallah at the end of the slides. Here the uses of the past perfect symbol to describe an action that was completed before another action in the past, and the second action is in the past simple. And here another example. The lecture had already started. Here is had and already started, the verb 3 for the past participle for the verb start. The lecture had already started when we got. This is the simple past to the university. So this is a past perfect. The time expressions come with past perfect symbol: already, ever, never, just, when, by the time, after, by, before, and etc. So these are the time expressions which always which indicates to using the past perfect symbol. So those expressions come with past perfect symbol: already, ever, never, just, when, by the time, after, and by, and before, etc. More examples of time expressions with the past perfect. I can say, for example, I already had opened. Let's say like John already had opened a coffee shop like 5 or let's say 3 weeks earlier. So this could be an example. So John already had opened a coffee shop 3 weeks earlier. So here is the past perfect. The past perfect. Okay, great. Let's now move to the past perfect progressive. So the using of this tense to emphasize the duration of an action, that was in progress before another action or a specific point of time in the past. He had been living in Egypt for 15 years when he moved to Saudi Arabia. So we have here had been living, this is first action, when he moved. It's almost the same, when he moved. Okay, so he had been living in Egypt for 15 years when he moved to Saudi Arabia. This is the past perfect progressive, and it shows us the duration of an action that was in progress before, because there is 15 years, this is a duration of time before another action or specific point of time in the past. More examples. They were tired. So here is they were tired just because they had, here they had been cleaning. They had been cleaning. Let me try now. Okay. So two actions. They were tired. This is the past simple. They were tired because they had been cleaning the house all the day. The actions, the second actions shows what? The event continues. The event continues. More examples I'm gonna show you. Or okay, like for example, it had been raining. It had been raining non-stop for the past 2 days. It had been raining non-stop for the past 2 days. So here it had been raining. This is the past perfect progressive. Good. And here the last exercise, we should do it together. My classmates and I have a wonderful winter holiday last year, and it's already clear we should add just had. We just add the word had. We study really hard for the past few years. We can say here, using the past perfect progressive, we had been. Third one, the parents of one of my classmates had opened a travel agencies 2 months earlier. So here we can write had opened. It had been snowing. It had been snowing non-stop for the past week. The last one is the sun had already started, and it's clear now in front of my window now. Has already started. Had already started. So here we have to, you can say here John, John had already opened a coffee shop. Like 3 months earlier, to make it clear for you. So here is the last one, is it had been already started, and we try to answer all these questions, and we have now the slides for answers. You can look at it. Had been studying, had opened, had been snowing, had already started. And we have the conclusion for our classes, the structures. We talked about the structures, and so we talked about the build of the structures of the past perfect and the past perfect progressive, and the uses of the form, the two tenses, and also the time expressions that come with both tenses. Thank you all for joining the class. I hope you get benefit from what we have just explained. And if you want to see these classes recorded, or you have any questions, you can ask through many means, tool-free, Twitter, or just ask, and the technical support. All the copyrights for تطوير is received.